So he would say all these things on the phone. So he'd be like, look, it's not your first show, it won't be your last show.
Right.
And things like that. So yeah. Fuck, Raja!
Oh my god! Oh.
I was just talking about you!
Oh.
Why are you talking about me?
One day
We were talking about stand-up. Yeah. Please come and say a hi in front of the camera.
Founder father.
Fuck, I was just talking about you, Raja. You live for 100 years.
Hello, hi, Rashik.
The essential rule of stand-up, as in the modern stand-up that is followed now, which was born in America, is that the comedian should write their own lines. That is the standard ethical rule, like how you have laws of nature.
Right.
If there were laws of stand-up, the number one law would be that you have to write your own joke. If somebody has already spoken about an angle about a thing, you don't touch it. Actually, yeah, the Permit Room came through a conversation with my friend actually who made a cameo. Standard of film journalism in the Telugu film industry is very bad.
Yeah.
It's just the worst.
Those typical. మీకు ఎలా అనిపించింది సినిమా?
ఎలా అనిపించింది? బోల్డ్ రోల్ ఎందుకు చేస్తున్నా? You have to have 5 songs. You have to have a fight scene. You have to have an interval band. You have to have a last climax, pre-climax.
Right.
That's it. How easy it is, man.
It's a template.
It's a template. You just fix stuff in it.
When we are in a field of communication mass comm, problem ఏమవుతుందంటే చాలా మందికి కెమెరా ఫేస్ చేయాలన్న కాన్ఫిడెన్స్ ఉండదు. Since you're a stand-up comedian, you host events and you lot of other stuff as well. So for students particularly or anyone who wants to gain their confidence, what are few key things which you follow particularly on stage or elsewhere
That helps you get confidence.
Yes.
To face the camera.
Yes, camera or the audience particularly, because stand-up is such a brutal art form because it works or it doesn't work, and the audience can completely go silent.
Grey under chala black and white.
So a confidence ekkad chestar and how does it work?
See, for stand-up, it's like 2 parts of the question. One is for camera and stuff.
Right.
For that, there is one answer I can give. And for the stand-up is a completely different ball game. So in stand-up, what you see on stage or on YouTube are sets that have been done over and over again at open mics.
Right.
Open mics are free events where anybody can go and whoever goes will be given 5 minutes, irrespective of how big or famous you are.
Okay.
And you have to practice the set. So when we tell these jokes, these are jokes that have been done over and over again at an open mic. And then you kind of, like a PhD student, you track all the data. When are they laughing? When are they not laughing? What do I tweak? You listen to the audio, you watch the video. So you kind of perfect it over time so that you have some grasp over it. So for stand-up, that is the issue.
Correct.
And in stand-up, the thing is that you have to be okay with bombing. So in stand-up, there are 2 terms that they use: killing and bombing.
Right.
Killing is when you do well.
Yes.
Bombing is when it's just trash.
Definitely.
Right? Nobody's laughing. You have to be very okay with that. Right? And in stand-up, there is a fakery associated with it. In the sense that you might be nervous, but you can't let the people know you're nervous.
Okay.
Because the people, stand-up audience, when you go to a show, have you ever been to a live stand-up?
Yeah,
show?
I've been to your shows.
You've been to my show. Have you been to a live stand-up show?
I have been to like a few of the shows, Akash Mehta. I've been to yours, few of those.
Correct. So when you
open
go to a
mics.
show, you must have realized when the comic is coming, you feel a certain nervousness.
Definitely.
Right? Like you're a little nervous. Like you take part in a nervous energy. Now as a comic, as a performer, the audience is watching you. If you get nervous, they get nervous for you. And then the whole vibe
Changes
becomes very strange. So obviously comics are shitting their pants inside. But you can't let the audience know, because the audience would appreciate it. Somebody who bombed and said, oh shit, that bombed.
Exactly.
And I'm sorry. Somebody who addresses the situation.
Right.
So in stand-up, there is that. There is the scope to address the situation, but you cannot look nervous on stage.
You have to be on your feet like all the time.
On your feet, you have to be willing to accept defeat. You have to be willing to be the idiot. You should not be scared of that. So that is one.
Yeah.
With camera and looks, look, I'm not an actor, but I can talk.
Right.
And obviously, I always had my own fears about.
It's okay. It's a cameo.
Yeah. I always had the fears of. Generally, we are obsessed about how do we look.
Yes.
Right.
But that is like, see, I'm in my 30s now and I have made my peace with the way I look. Right? Because you cannot control how you look, man.
Definitely.
Because you get it from your parents.
Correct.
Right?
ఏముంటావు ఏం మాట్లాడుతున్నావు యు లుక్ అమేజింగ్.
Yeah.
No.
One more
Please.
thing. మీ film companion ఏవైతే రివ్యూస్ ఉన్నా you definitely have to change the thumbnail, man. It is the same old Hriday Ranjan.
Correct. No, I have only one photo in my life. Literally, that's my only photo. 2016 I took it.
Oh my
And
God.
anywhere. That's my
God.
only photo. Yeah. So it's almost 8 years to that photo.
Right.
No, but I'll tell you about the camera and people especially who are interested in acting. I like to just tell them this. I cannot act. It's a very tough thing, dude. I can do stand-up, but just acting is difficult.
It's a completely different ballgame.
Yeah, so if you have the skill, the thing is, if you think of the greatest actors who ever lived across the world, across industries, you will find that they were not particularly good-looking men or women, for that matter. Right? Like Marlon Brando.
Definitely.
Right? Kamal Hassan.
Right.
They're not traditionally good-looking people.
Yes.
Right? Like Shah Rukh Khan.
Or Amitabh Bachchan for that.
Amitabh Bachchan. Mammootty, Mohanlal. Mammootty is still good-looking. Mohanlal, it's like a chubby guy. Rajnikanth. Right? So actually and look at all the good-looking people. They are generally slightly questionable actors. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
Because if you are very good-looking, you can only fit a few roles. Like how many roles can Mahesh Babu fit?
Yeah.
A rich guy, a chief minister's son, a guy who came to the village to change the village. Right? How many roles can Dulquer Salman fit?
Right.
He looks a certain way. But look at a Fahad Fasil. Look at a Dhanush.
Yes.
Right? So actually if you're not spectacular looking, it is your greatest asset. Look at Irfan Khan. Look at Nawazuddin Siddiqui. Look at that, my favorite Malayalam actor, Shubin Shahir. Shobin. He's amazing because he can just fit into many things. So that is what I would say, that if you're actually not very good looking, that's your biggest strength. Because then people judge you for your acting, you're recognized for your acting. Of course on the surface there will be some like disadvantages if you think of it that way. But if you're actually not conventionally good looking and you want to come in front of the camera and be an actor, that's the best thing to have happened to you. Right? Because look at how many roles Nawazuddin Siddiqui can
Definitely.
get enter.
Manoj
Bajpayee, KK Menon. Right? But if you saw Nawazuddin Siddiqui, you'll be like, hey, that's not a good looking guy. It's so strange. So that's what I like to tell people, though I have not acted as such. But yeah, that's what I think. Does that make sense?
It does.
You don't have to agree just because you're interviewing me.
No. So, taking a segue from this, so you have your podcast called thepermitroom as well. So, conversations flow very smoothly. So, it could really help us if you can tell us what goes behind the whole setup, how the production works, how do you like get the talents in, and how do you make them feel comfortable, and how does that go?
Actually, yeah, the Permit Room came through a conversation with my friend actually who made a cameo.
Right.
Santosh. Yeah. So, no, with the podcast, we were very clear that the standard of film journalism in the Telugu film industry is very bad.
Yeah.
It's just the worst.
Those typical. మీకు ఎలా అనిపించింది సినిమా?
ఎలా అనిపించింది? బోల్డ్ రోల్ ఎందుకు చేస్తున్నా? And
or those scandalous journalists who ask questions at the events.
Yeah, so the standard is so bad that we didn't have to do much.
Right.
Just by following some basic ethics of journalism itself, we were far ahead of the curve. Because the bar is so low.
Yes.
But specifically with the podcast, I feel like there is a key difference between an interview and a podcast. A podcast allows people to speak for an hour. And generally when people come, especially actors, they have given hundreds of interviews.
Correct.
And after giving hundreds of interviews, there is a certain performative way in which they answer the questions. They know. So what our strategy is that we shoot for at least 3 hours minimum.
Oh yeah, eventually they'll loosen up.
Yeah, so after the first 1 hour, in the first 1 hour we don't say anything. We let the muddy water flow first.
Definitely.
But after a point they realize that, dude, we are not looking for anything sensational.
Yes.
We tell them that, look, the internet is already filled with so much muck. We just want a happy space. So we don't want anything sensational. So after 1 hour is when the trust begins to flow the other way.
Correct.
Right?
That
Okay,
gives
these
them a
guys
comfort
are
space.
Yeah, and then you can't fake something for 1 hour, right? You'll just kind of drop your defenses. And that is when we take over. That's when. So our aim with the podcast is to get into people's obsessions. Right? Because so we don't try to talk to them much about their work.
Right.
Because sometimes, I don't know, sometimes when you ask people about what they do, how they do, you don't even know, you're just saying whatever comes to your mind.
Correct.
Right? So, or sometimes you're rehashing an answer.
Sometimes there's no method to the madness.
Sometimes there is no, but you have to say something.
Yes.
So yeah, but everybody is obsessed with some strange fucking thing. Sorry for using the swear word.
We
Everybody's-
love the Chandni
Yes.
Chaudhary interview. Like you
Yeah.
went through the Reddit rabbit hole and
Yeah,
she
yeah,
admitted
yeah.
that she was giving such sensational answers which she didn't admit it anyway.
Yeah. So I think the thing with us with the podcast was firstly not to judge the person
Right.
and let them talk. And yeah, that was it. So I mean, it's only been a few months, but that is what I think has been working. That we don't try to steer the conversation in any way.
It's been wonderful so far because these conversations you don't see these actors or film related personalities generally say in these interviews because those are pointed in a particular way and they're just promoting.
Yeah.
So this feels more human in your podcast particularly.
A personal connect is always there.
Yeah.
Definitely. So again, stand-up की वापस వచ్చేస్తే we've had the AIB people from the AIB or Kenny or Veerdas or other people starting the stand-up space and eventually like it became a big thing through YouTube and all. So while all of this was happening, the Hindi and the English space was booming in Bangalore, other cities. What was happening in Hyderabad and who are few key players here? If you can say the evolution of stand-up in
Hyderabad.
Yes.
particular.
So stand-up in Hyderabad is like the Hindi English modern style of stand-up started around 2013.
Okay.
Right, 2013-14 is when the first open mics were conducted.
Right.
But people like Brahmanandam, or maybe not Brahmanandam because he's too big, but other like there were people who would do Telugu comedy on stage.
Okay.
Right?
It is not your conventional stand-up comedy.
It's not a conventional stand-up thing, but suppose there is an event. Like Ali would go and be funny.
Right.
Oh yeah, there would be some mimicry involved.
Some mimicry. So it didn't follow the rules of stand-up. The essential rule of stand-up, as in the modern stand-up that is followed now, which was born in America, is that the comedian should write their own lines. That is the standard ethical rule, like how you have laws of nature.
Right.
If there were laws of stand-up, the number one law would be that you have to write your own joke. If somebody has already spoken about an angle about a thing, you don't touch it. If you have been doing the joke for 5 years, but you come to know somebody had a joke, you drop it. That's like the basic ethic in stand-up. The number two thing is that, number one is that it has to be original. Number two is that you have to be performant. You can't take somebody else's original lines. So those kind of things started in the last 10 years.
Okay.
Which were like going to open mics, trying out your bit and all of that. So mostly it was Rajshekarmamidanna.
Right.
Who started, and he was like the founding father of
Stand-up in
Hyderabad stand-up. Yeah. He would conduct all the mics and stuff like that. He would give all the best, like all the greatest advice I've ever had with stand-up is
By Raj.
from Rajshekarmamidanna. I can even tell them to you. So I would have these bits, I would have these shows, right? And with stand-up, your shows can be anything. Like you have no idea. And when you're starting off and you're desperate, you accept anything, right?
Yes.
Right.
Because the money is kind of good. Right? So, like, do you know what's a sari function?
Yeah. Pedda manchi.
Correct.
With the manchi avadam.
Yeah. So I have gone for sari functions.
Oh damn.
And just try to perform, right? Because you're desperate. So sometimes I would have a bad show, or I know it's going to be a bad show.
Definitely.
And I would call Raja and say, Raja, dude, I'm freaking out.
He would come to the rescue.
So he would say all these things on the phone. So he'd be like, look, it's not your first show, it won't be your last show.
Right.
And things like that. So yeah. Fuck, Raja!
Oh my god.
I was just talking about you.
Oh.
Why are you talking about it?
One way
We were talking about stand-up. Yeah. Please come and say a hi in front of the camera.
Founder father.
Fuck, I was just talking about you, Raja. You'll live 100 years.
Hello, hi, Rashik.
Love you, Baganna.
Sameer. You are?
Pranav.
Hello, hi.
So they are HCU juniors.
Oh, okay.
So they are
What are you
assignment.
So
That's an interview.
It's an
Like,
interview.
how is it going and all?
Oh, okay.
So they were asking about Hyderabad scene and I said, no, there's Raja. And I was telling him about your advice, man. That if not your first show, won't be your last show. And then you came. 100
Are you
years.
still going through the Peppa Pig, Anna?
That destroyed my life. Wherever I go, people are calling me Peppa. I'm not even saying that's a good way. Sir, continue.
Yeah, I'll finish it and bring you.
Yeah.
But yeah, what an interview,
Surprise
man.
cameo.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I'll meet you in the evening.
Correct,
You
correct.
have some shoot today.
I have a podcast shoot
When is that?
5 o'clock. So I'll leave by 4:30.
Okay, ఈ లోపల వస్తే I'll say.
Yeah.
Bye, nice meeting you. Bye.
Tatasu Devil చూస్తున్నట్టు. We should talk about Shah Rukh Khan probably.
No, that's a great interview.
Oh my god. Super.
అయిపోయిందన్న
So
So he was the guy. So I would always, so that was what was happening in the Hyderabad scene. He would give me advice like that. And
ఒక చిన్న అనెక్డోట్ ఉండే అన్న. అయితే మొన్న ఐ వెంట్ టు షో. సో హీ వాజ్ విత్ క్రౌడ్ వర్క్ అనమాట. సో ఏమవుతుందంటే నార్మల్ అందరితో మాట్లాడుతున్నాడు. సో వాజ్ లైక్ నువ్వేమైనా గేమ్స్ ఆడతావా సమీర్ అని అడుగుతుంది. అందరి జనరల్ క్వశ్చన్. I was like, everybody was answering. I was like, I don't play games. I get played with. ఇంకా అయిపోయాడు అన్న. అరే ఎవడ్రా వీడు, నా పక్కన మా దోస్తున్నారు, అరే వీడిని బయటికి తీసుకెళ్ళంటారా చూపించు.
So how important is improv in stand-up comedy and being spontaneous? Because
Exactly. Crowd
certain
work is
people
a
could
big
be
part.
drunk, or they could be saying anything,
Yeah.
or they could be saying something very bad to you. You need to convert it into a positive situation again, because you
Yeah.
can't affect the mood of the audience.
Yeah.
So does that come with practice, or is it?
it comes with
ingrained?
practice only.
Okay.
Some people it's very natural.
Okay.
Right? I mean, if you're very comfortable with your personality on stage, it comes naturally. But it takes some learning also, because the open mics are actually where it's scary, because open mics will be at bars or something.
Right.
Where the drunk people have come.
Correct.
And they don't even they are not even obliged to behave properly. The open mics are where the alcoholics shout at you and all.
Whoa.
So you learn to deal with heckling and stuff like that. So that is, yeah, but being able to think on your feet
Correct.
is crucial, because you have to be a little self-aware of how the show is going. Is it not going well? How do I increase the energy? Sometimes if somebody is shouting, you have to know when to put them down. But it's a bit like, you know, in class there would always be the
Naughty boy.
naughty guy. It's just a grown-up version of that.
Ah.
Like they don't mean any harm. They don't mean to fuck with you. But they're fuck.
It's
sorry
okay,
for
it's
the-
okay, it's
yeah,
okay.
they don't mean to, like, you know, put you in despair.
Right.
But they just want some attention.
రైట్.
Right? And so you just give them some attention. Right? Like with your example.
Yes.
Right.
So you just said a funny answer. You were not trying to spoil his show.
Yeah.
But you were like, hey, because you feel like, okay, if he's funny and if I'm funny, it'll become like a game.
Right.
It's like you go to watch a match and suddenly Virat Kohli is like, hey, you come bowl to me. That's what it is. Like as an analogy, right? So that is why people just try to be funny. So after a few years, you understand that. So you just give them some attention, or you address it, or you make, and they're okay with it. Like.
Right.
So at least in India, that concept of hard heckling has not come.
Correct.
I feel like we are a more polite people.
That's more in the West, right?
It's
Very
more in the
brutal
West.
and very harsh.
But also you have to understand that stand-up has been going on in US since 1940s, 50s. So it's a very mature industry over there. It's like 70, 80 years. In India, it's about 10 years old. So maybe in 5 years, 10 years, India will also start heckling. But right now, it doesn't happen that. Nobody is trying to really fuck with you. Like nobody's trying to really destroy your show. And with stand-up, there's always bouncers.
Right.
Or there's some security. So they handle it. It's not
Is
that
this
bad.
because of the current socio-political scenario or certain things which have probably happened in the past?
Yeah, sometimes because I don't know. I feel like in India, humor is always taken as an insult.
Oh yeah.
Like culturally, we are. If you see, even the language that we use for jokes, like in Hindi, we say mazak udana, right?
Right. It has a different connotation.
Even in Telugu, if you see vivekathreya, it's there's no even word for, like, he's just cracking a joke,
Right.
Yes.
right? They say navvistunadu. Or they say,
more polite.
yeah, but if you say, what is the way? It's like vivekathreya.
You're making fun of
Mazak uda raha hai. So there's always that connotation, and people like take a joke personally.
Right.
They feel like, okay, if a joke is made at me, it means I'm the idiot. But every joke is a little bit of a risk that you take. Right? Every joke is at the expense of something or somebody. That is the nature of a joke.
It's meant
And
to
that
provoke
is-
something.
It's
right?
meant to provoke or comment on somebody or something.
Or connect.
That is the definition of a joke. So people are okay if we crack a joke on ourselves, for example. They're like, oh, what a great guy. Oh. So what is the difference? Because when he's cracking a joke on himself, do you really think he's shitting on himself? No, right? It's just a
Definitely
statement for attention.
Correct.
It's the same when he's doing it on somebody else.
Right.
But in India, we're a little sensitive about jokes. We feel personal about it. And so maybe that's why. But I still feel like India is a very funny country. like primarily because if you look at what really sets India apart from other countries.
Right.
Have you thought about that? Like what really you think culturally sets India apart?
Probably we make fun of our hardships as well. Like
No, that they do in the West also.
Right.
Yeah, people do that. I'll tell you what I think it is. I'm not saying it's a correct answer.
okay.
Culturally, just logic. I'm not saying like philosophical.
Deep గా కాకుండా పైన.
Everybody in India speaks at least 3 languages.
Right.
Right?
Correct.
It's amazing. No other country in the world does that.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So, which means, and we don't give ourselves enough credit for this.
Right.
Like it is something Indians should be very proud of. Because people go through their whole lives just with one language.
Right.
How sad. All your literature, everything, your whole
World
view of the universe is through one language.
Yes.
Correct.
It's very sad. But if you look at Indians, right? Like how many languages do you speak? 3. How many languages do you speak?
I speak 4.
3. You speak 4. You? 5. Very nice. See, I also speak 5.
Right.
And in every language, you are borrowing from decades and centuries of literature and humor
Cultural
and
heritage.
culture.
It's a different world altogether.
It's
with
different.
each
So,
and every language.
yeah, it's like Indians have 3 pairs of eyes or 5 pairs of eyes, right? Because you're looking at the world.
Correct.
And because of that, when you are fluent in 3-4 languages, you are also fluent in 3-4 types of humor.
Correct.
Because every language has its own kind of funny.
Right.
Right. Like what are the languages you speak?
Telugu, English, Tamil, and little Bengali, and a little of Kannada.
So you would have noticed that the Tamil funny is different from the Telugu funny.
Yes.
Right? It's a different, I don't know, it's its own it's its own syntax.
Correct.
It's its own, so Indians that way are lucky. We are funny in many languages.
Right.
Right? So that's why I think Indians will loosen up in a little bit. So this is all temporary, I feel. That they are taking offense, but I think it will loosen up in a bit.
Right. Talking about multiple facets, you do many things. One of them is movie reviews. And obviously, movies is a very, at least in the Telugu space, it's a very personal thing. People react a lot and we are a very avid movie watching audience. And fan culture is very big.
A politeness, immediately it will go when you talk about movies.
So, obviously, when you give out your opinion, polarizing opinions వస్తాయి. కొందరైతే చాలా హార్ష్ కూడా ఉంటారు ప్రాబబ్లీ. సో హౌ డు యూ డీల్ విత్ ఇట్? సర్టన్ టైమ్స్ మేబీ మిమ్మల్ని అబ్యూజ్ చేస్తుంటే ప్రాబ్లీ ట్రోల్ అవుతూ ఉంటే హౌ డు యూ డీల్ విత్ ఇట్ అండ్ నావిగేట్ త్రూ ఇట్?
I don't know, I mean,
having our own journey.
Yeah, no, it was difficult, man. I cannot be cool about it. It was.
Does this still get to you? Like
No, not anymore. I
after so
just
many
stopped
years?
reading comments from 2-3 years. And it is like, I don't know. See, I didn't grow up in this insane Tollywood fandom culture. Right? And so I have no very personal attachments.
Okay.
Right? So I think I can be more fair and I don't take it very seriously. Right? And if you don't take things very seriously, you can be more honest. Because you're like, if it's a bad film, it's a bad film, man. What is there?
Correct.
Because after a point you realize the director doesn't care. He has moved on to the next movie. The actor has done 3 movies by the time this movie has come. Nobody really cares.
Right.
Except these fans. So our attempt was generally to like be a little honest and to bring in a culture where people can laugh.
Correct.
Because I used to always feel like in Telugu culture, they make fun of politicians. Right? They make fun of others, of themselves, but they don't make fun of film stars.
Yeah. Because they are demigods. And me and Santosh, when we started off with the reviews, we are like, they might be demigods, but we are atheists. As in, what is that really? I mean, what is this like, And of course, we come from journalism background. Right.
Like I studied journalism. Santosh had done journalism, even though he has not studied. So we thought, okay, we'll be honest with it and we'll just talk to people about what we felt. But yeah, it did get to us after a point because we didn't realize how passionate people are about their favorite stars and stuff like that. But now it is more like detachment. Now it's like, I don't care. I don't.
Just put out the review.
I just put out the review
out your opinion,
and and don't bother reading a single like comment. But then the hate is very nicely. It's like every week.
Right.
There is some idiot who slides into your DMs and just goes at you, man.
Oh man.
Just goes at you, and you just have to be okay with it.
Correct.
Sometimes you can tell the abuse in the first 2 lines. Right. Start means you're like,
There's a
okay,
particular
fine.
tone to it.
Some people are like,
90
hey Hriday, I've been following you for so long, and you know, I've been seeing your reviews. And one thing that has always stood out is that you have always said what you wanted, but have you ever thought that you're a piece of shit?
Such one.
Yeah.
Mind
So,
game.
yeah. So it is like that. So you, but like now it's been, I think, 5 years almost. And it has taught me at least how to be a little thick-skinned. I used to always think I'm thick-skinned, but it has taught me a little bit about like how to just take it and be okay with it, not get too affected.
Yeah, double clicking on the journalistic skills and MA part of it. So your foundational basis might have been from your MA degree, right? So how do you apply those skills when it comes to writing? We see those notes over there. You're working on a documentary of sorts. So how did that help you, and how do you approach your writing when it comes to like documentary or writing certain screenplays or your scripts? So how do you go about it?
See, honestly, what you learn in your masters, there will be few things that you keep with you.
Right. The
All
5
your
W's
life.
and 1H.
5W 1H. For me, it is mind maps, which I use a lot. So there will be few things, right? Maybe because you guys are video production, or what is the course called?
Media practice.
Media practice.
Yes.
Maybe something that your lecturer says will stick with you. It will be those few things, but more than that, it will be like a certain principle that stays with you. Right? A certain principle of maybe it's ethics, maybe it is quality, maybe it is like perseverance of sticking to what is it. So those few things only, I mean, it is impractical to believe that everything you learn in the 2 years will stay with you, but one of those few things will stay with you.
Right.
And for me, it was that actually, like it was transformative for me, because I used to always be very scared of people who have one career. Actually, I'm envious of them. If you have just one career, it's an amazing life, right? You wake up because you know what you want to do.
Correct.
It is your chosen destiny in life. And
You don't
do
have
it.
to hustle all throughout.
You don't have to hustle, or maybe no, you have to hustle. If your dream is to become a director, there's a hustle.
Right.
Sorry, you were saying?
No, nothing. I was saying that I think there's some happiness in some certain uncertainty. Like for example, let's say you just wake up today and you're like, "Ee roju podduna stand up isna tarvata nenu reviews." I think a versatility unte life a color untadi.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, I was coming to that. So I was always scared and envious of people who have one passion in life, but I always felt that I'm not like. I feel I would get bored.
Okay.
So I used to always wonder, is it possible to do many things in life? Right? And that, I think the university kind of showed me that it's possible, because if you look at many of the professors, they are doing 2-3 things actually.
Correct. They're teaching, they're doing their thesis, and they're working on some project.
Yeah, like look at Vasuki sir, for
Yes,
example.
yes.
He's teaching, but he's like publishing his book, and he was doing a PhD. And so every professor had these 2-3 things they would do.
Correct.
And even the guest lecturers that they would call would always be people like, they were reporters, but they were also film critics, but they were also writers, but they were also actors. Like
multifaceted.
Yeah, like Mahesh Katti. He was one of my heroes, right? So when I saw those kind of people, I'm like, hey, it's okay to be pursuing 2-3 careers at once, right? And I think that is what the university kind of told me, that some people, it is okay to pursue 2-3 things. And if you look at all your heroes in life, at least my heroes, they have always done many things. Right? You look at anybody in any field, they would have done a few things.
Correct.
Right? So, I mean, anybody that I like, I'm sorry for generalizing.
No.
Sounds wrong journalistically. But yeah.
This segue is very weird, but then the thing is, when you are looking at, you are watching movies for a living, and you do it again and again and again. Isn't there a point where you lose the fascination, or you lose the love for it?
Yeah, you do. And then, luckily, I'm also trying to be a writer.
Oh.
So then I follow like screenplay rules. Then you're just seeing if it's following the rules. Like Save the Cat. Like that is literally Save the Cat. Right? Save the Cat is a screenplay.
It's a book.
It's a book, but it's a screenplay module, like a template.
Okay.
Which is called Save the Cat. So now when you watch movies, you are like, okay, does it follow that rule? Does it follow this rule? So it becomes a little methodical, right? It does become a little academic.
Correct.
Yeah, like that.
There.
So then the movie has to be truly engaging for you to get immersed in it.
Right.
But some people have the ability, sorry.
Yeah, like Pareshan did to you probably. It was one of your favorite films of
Yeah,
last
it was
year.
my favorite film.
So did that happen to you? Like you got completely immersed in the film and you were not looking at it?
Yeah, I was not looking at, because then, see, films are essentially formulaic too.
Most
Like,
of them.
we as mass comm students might look at them as art, but the people who control the factors of production, the producers and the directors and the actors, for them it's commerce.
Right.
And that is the essential dissonance that you feel as mass comm students. You're like, why are they making this shit?
Correct.
Why haven't you ever thought that?
Yeah.
Why is it so bad?
Simply because it sells they make
No,
it,
because
right?
for them it's a commerce.
Correct.
It's like if you're making a pair of shoes,
Right.
or if you're making cakes, you're like, okay, it's a cake, man. You just put it out. Doesn't matter. I'm not going to win an award.
Right.
Exactly.
So for most of the people, our movies are a commercial thing. So you kind of understand that after a point. Like they're not here to make high art. So after a point, you're okay with that. So then you're just waiting for them to surprise you.
Correct.
Yes,
So a movie that surprises me, I would give more this thing. A movie that surprised me and failed, I would still treat with more respect,
Right.
than a movie that just went by what the audience wanted and did a great job at it. Because that's easy, because you know that, you have to have 5 songs. You have to have a fight scene. You have to have an interval band. You have to have a last climax, pre-climax.
Right.
That's it. How easy it is, man.
It's a template.
It's a template. You just fix stuff in it. And after a point, you can tell where the song, hero will come. He'll give one introduction song to the world.
Ideology is it.
Yeah, that's 5-6 minutes. Then meet cute scene.
Right.
Meets the heroine.
Correct.
And it's always some cutesy shit.
Exactly.
Which is very questionable.
One
Like in
foreign
the
location.
university, it will put a cash case. Right? But that guy is,
Enabled.
yeah, he's clearly not gone to HCU. So it's very template-ish, man. It's very simple.
Correct.
And I feel like most people who think about, like, I want to become a director, and they think about it as a very complicated thing. It's actually it's not that difficult, man.
Okay.
I mean, really, if you look at every movie that comes out, how difficult do you think it is?
Right. It's just the same formula.
The guy is the same, the girl is the same, the father is the same.
అదొక రోగం ఉంటుంది అనుకోకండి.
You just change the variables here and
The
there.
mother will give some sentiments, and if you think about it, the sister will be caring. Have you seen a non-caring sister?
No.
Sister has to be caring. It has to be caring.
Mother sacrificing.
Mother sacrificing, father scolding little. Hey,
little
Indra, Panjab, reading newspaper on breakfast table. And mother will be like, ఏంటి మీరు ప్రతిసారి మా కొడుకునే ఇలా తిడుతున్నారు. It's the same, dude.
Same template, yeah.
Then there's a villain who is lecherous.
Right. Completely dark. No grey.
అయిపోయింది.
Yeah.
గ్రే షేడ్ ఉండదు.
No, he's just evil.
Pure evil.
Evil. There's a friend. Friend has no ambition again. He has not even typed a CV. Friend is just there.
Right.
And if he becomes too friendly, emotional, he'll die inside. So the friend has to be careful also.
Oh my god.
Can't get too friendly. Then you'll die. Then of course, then there's a villain. Then there's the heroine. Heroine obviously has no purpose.
Right. Decoration.
Yeah, I mean sometimes they don't even show what she does. Like how does she earn money?
Right.
This is existing.
Parents over
I'm
the
cute,
child.
I'm getting money.
Yeah, and then she has a house. And nobody ever asks her.
I think all of our films will fail the Bechdel test, right? Like,
Yeah.
I think none of them will. Very
Bechdel test much you are talking. Our films will fail the Bechdel test.
Oh god.
So it's not very difficult. If you have some journalistic ethics, you
Right.
can review movies. And so for us it was easy. You do lose the kind of, like, I wish I was reviewing Malayalam movies. Because I'm not a very parochial guy. Like, I have never understood being proud of where you come from because you came from there.
Correct. You've been at multiple places.
Right. So
Orissa, Vizag.
Your identity can be a lot of
Vizag,
things.
Puttaparthi, I was there for 10
Puttaparthi,
years.
yeah.
Now I can't be like, oh, I'm proud of
Proud Puttaparthi. I don't know what they call them.
Yeah, it's like I don't get too much of like parochial pride or jingoistic pride because I'm like, dude, if I was in South Sudan, right, would I be like, yes, South Sudan, greatest country? I mean, it makes you
Pirates,
lose
let's
some,
go.
it makes you lose some fairness, right?
Correct,
Some sort of thing. So maybe that helped in being a little fair.
By the way,
critical.
a completely different segment. Are you doing those dubbing things, Abhibi?
No.
No, you stopped
Thankfully,
it.
I don't have to do.
Ah,
It was, but I did for a long time when I
it's for just money, like to
yeah,
survive.
for money, obviously, not for Pulitzer Prize. But it was like funny only.
We
Because-
saw that set of yours.
Yeah.
On dubbing, yeah.
2 sets on my channel.
Yeah. And I've done ads. I've done a lot of ads.
Okay. You've written for ads or?
I've written for ads. I've also dubbed for ads.
Okay.
Arre.
Yeah, because it's like I quit my job and I'm like I had a job, dude, and I just couldn't do it. And I wouldn't recommend this to everybody. It's just something that happened to me.
Right.
And I thought, okay, and it sounds so glorious in movies, right? It's like I'm quitting my job, I'll pursue my passion.
Eira dosa.
But then after like 2 weeks, when that high goes off,
Correct.
you don't know what to do, right? Because you have to do something to survive.
Correct.
You can't just, So, but those are the fun years. That's when you really know about yourself and what pisses you off and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that was when I used to do this dubbing things. So, and because I speak 5 languages, it was just cheaper for the sound engineer to, right? Because then I could do the Telugu, Hindi, English, Odia, Bengali.
Oh
my
my
god.
god.
Right? So it's easier to dub. So it was just like
Logistically.
easy, and then they would pay me the price of one guy, save the money on the 4 guys.
Rotto chakri it is.
Bro,
Yeah.
he really bro.
నిజంగా అసలు.
Yeah, but it was fun only. I mean, it was not like painful or anything. It was
Last కి ఐడి కార్డ్ అయితే ఇచ్చినావు కదా
which one?
ఇట్లా.
No.
I
It
don't
was
know
not,
names.
it was not that dramatic. It was okay. I mean,
So, since you do multiple things, మీరు ఒక కాలమ్ రాస్తారు, రివ్యూస్ అండ్ వాట్ ఎవర్ టాక్ ఇన్ ది పాడ్కాస్ట్ సో ఫార్. సో how do you manage time? Because you're constantly occupied by multiple things. Acha, ee guest వస్తున్నాడు, ఈ podcast ఉంది, this thing is there. And it is also important to not do anything, to make your mind fertile and give time for yourself. So, one, how do you manage time and how do you balance all of these? So,
correct. No, so for this I have, and I'm not saying this because you guys are HC students, but this is something that Professor Usha Raman had told me.
okay.
Which is that I don't know what was the context. Maybe I asked her that how do you manage to do these things, or what do I do if I want to do many things and not one. She had said that just compartmentalize days for different things, which is something I have followed. So like my Tuesdays, my Mondays are free.
Okay.
I like it that way. It kind of gives me a sense of rebellion or whatever.
Right.
So Mondays I'm free to do whatever I want.
లిటిల్ గార్ఫీల్డ్ షాప్ ఇవ్వండి.
Yeah, correct. And also Mondays is nowadays I'm working on the documentary.
okay.
Tuesdays is when I have to submit the column. Wednesdays is when I have to do my pop quizzes or whatever outdoor events or my open mics or
Right.
anything like that.
Are you performing in the joint the Wednesdays?
Joint now it's not happening anymore.
Acha.
But in other places.
Right.
Right. So Monday to Friday we have open mics. So I devote to that. Then again Thursdays is when I do a podcast shoot. Friday is when I review the movie. And then Saturday, whatever other work. Like Saturday, Sunday is generally the live shows.
Right.
So it's actually quite streamlined. I mean, if you
Yeah, it
know
is
that
quite organized.
it's organized. I mean, though time management I'm not very good at
Okay.
because of like habits, right? Good habits and bad habits. So it is a struggle to kind of manage your time. And if you are a good manager of time, you have a superpower
Correct.
in life. You just can do whatever you want. But I don't have that actually. So on the surface it seems like that. It's like that it's all organized, but inside if you look at the finer details, it's all just about going. I feel like I'm a kind of guy, I need a deadline to kind of
To push yourself
to
and
push.
finish it.
Yeah. So yeah, it's not very
It's like there is some order in the chaos.
there is some order in the chaos, and if you can keep that order with whatever is your this thing, you can do what you came to think. My whole thing was, can I earn a living by making people laugh in whatever way?
Right.
And I feel like, okay, I mean, if not now, in 10 years I'll be there. I can say that, okay, every like penny I earn is from making people laugh.
గుండెకి సంతోషాన్ని ఇస్తుంది ఒకటి.
అంటే ఇంకా ఇవ్వట్లేదు బట్ ఇస్తుంది 10 ఏళ్ళు. సో
అదే ఆ ప్రశాంత్ లెక్క దోశ. On that note, thank you, Anna.
Thank you so
It was
much.
wonderful talking to you.
Thank you.